Welcome to Explode Your Coaching Business Podcast, helping coaches, speakers, and trainers to live their purpose, grow their business, and make an impact in the world. Now, here's your host, Simona Vicenci.
Hello there, here is Explode Your Coaching Business podcast brought to you by gtex.org.uk. Growing together exponentially. I am your host, the one and the only Simone Vicenci, and this is the podcast for coaches, speakers, and trainers who want to grow their businesses by making an impact in the world. Today's episode is sponsored by Explode Your Coaching Business Training. So for more information, make sure you visit www.gtex.org.uk/start. I'm so excited about today's show as I have the pleasure to interview Jessica Ann. Jessica Ann is an image consultant and founder of Jessica Ann Styling, and she helps individuals create the brand you for that memorable first impression. She rebrands individuals and take them from where they are to where they want to be, and she guides them on a journey of self-discovery and transformation to educate them on how to dress for success and present the best version of themselves daily with great confidence. Now, you know that the way you are dressed is the way other people perceive you. So we are going to talk with Jessica about how to dress for success. We are going to cover, if you're a speaker or coach or consultant, what colors to wear to increase your sales one-to-one or during a seminar. Also, how to dress to stand out. And also, we will talk about how to overcome some embarrassing moments like, as Paul does, going into a corporate meeting with slippers still on. Or, for example, something I did, ripping trousers during a presentation. So we will talk, if something like that happened, how can you overcome that? And also much more. So make sure you listen until the end. Also, go and subscribe to the podcast so you don't miss any other episode. And if you want to reach out to me directly, you can email me at Simone, S-I-M-O-N-E, at gtex.org.uk. That goes straight into my inbox. And with that, let's start the music. Hello, Jessica. How are you?
Hi, I'm good, thank you. How was your day?
It was awesome, brilliant. Thank you very much. I mean, I spent a bit of time at the dentist because I injured myself playing basketball. But, you know, when you have these war injuries, right? Us men, we love war injuries and we feel like more manly. One of these kind of things. But getting back to you now. First question before we dive into how to dress for sales success, which is an incredible topic that we never had in the podcast. So I'm really excited about this. What is your favorite food, Jessica?
Well, I'm from New Zealand, so it would have to be fish and chips.
Fish and chips. So now, quick question. Tell me more. Is there any particular kind of fish, or they need to be prepared in a certain way? Because are they maybe different, the New Zealand one from the British one? What are your thoughts on that?
Pretty much the same. Battered and fried, nice piece of cod. The one thing that I do like is freshly cut potatoes as my chips and a whole lot of gravy.
Here we go. So if you want to conquer Jessica Hart, then you know what to do. Get her some fish and chips. Just spoiling it. Now, we are talking about getting dressed for sales success.
Yeah.
Why is important having the right outfit? Because a lot of people, I think they spend a lot of time learning about sales. They spend a lot of time learning about marketing. They spend a lot of time learning about branding their businesses. But do they really spend time in learning how to carry themselves and dress? So why is that important, Jessica?
Firstly, why it is important is, number one, it's not necessarily about wearing the right outfit. It's about being strategic with your image on a whole.
I like that word.
Nowadays, people buy people. So when you're able to ensure that your visual cues are coherent, which is
Right.
your appearance, your outfit, your body language, and your vocal tone, it creates a stronger message. So you're using your image as a form of nonverbal communication.
Which is really interesting, like the fact that people can make it. Do you remember, like, how long does it take for a person to make a judgment? Is
Actually 7 seconds now.
less than 7 seconds. In less than 7 seconds,
Seconds.
like they already have an idea about you because
Absolutely. So let me give you an example.
Go for it.
Let's do it a little bit fun, right? So you see a cute little dog that you want to pet. You've got 7 seconds to make a decision. So imagine yourself seeing a cute dog that visually looks really cute. In 7 seconds, what are the impressions you make? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
Wow.
So before you decided to pet that dog, what were the decisions you made? Or what were the thoughts that went through your head to see if you were going to pet the dog or not?
Does he have the puppy dog eyes? That was the thing. And also, is this fur? Because I like furry dogs. I mean, I used to have the small one. I used to have a German Shepherd, so I like this big fur in a dog. So yeah, that was my first thing. Does he have the puppy dog eye? So it's the cute factor, and that is fur. Does he have good fur?
Okay, what about the dog's behavior? Like, is it going to be a friendly dog that wants to be petted, or is in a bad mood and is going to bite your hand? What type of visual cues do you look for to assess that, if it's something that you want to pet or something that you don't want to pet?
Well, in that case, if he's not moving yet, but if he's like grinding his teeth, like, I'm probably not going to pick that one. And if he's like this cute, I go again to the puppy dog eyes, which I've used a lot in the past myself, and they got me out of trouble many times. That's
Does that kind of make sense?
It makes
so
sense.
You look at a dog and you're like, oh, it's so cute, I want to pet it. But before you decide to pet it, very quickly within those first 7 seconds, you're looking at its body language on whether it's wagging its tail because it's happy with its tongue hanging out, or if it's like, argh. And you're listening to its vocal sound. Like, does it sound happy? Does it sound like it's in a grumpy mood?
Oh.
So we do that with everything. So within the first 7 seconds, we form an impression of something. So we perceive something before we act with it. And that's the same with your appearance. So your appearance works as a form of nonverbal communication. And what that says to people is, are you a credible, trustworthy person? Do they want to deal with you? Do they want to continue to listen to what you're talking about?
Indeed.
So those are just your 7 seconds.
It's scary. It's a bit scary. Now, the question that I have for you is, so you have you've been doing this for a while now, and
Yes.
You're living and breathing how can people, they're teaching how people can dress for success and brands can dress for success. But I don't think you got into this industry because of cute dogs, right?
No.
So what got you into all this madness to see, actually, I want to help people, like seeing how they can carry themselves so they can be perceived as people that are trustworthy to be listened to. What got you there?
A couple of things. So one thing, I've always been really fascinated by human behavior and how people act, why they make the decisions that they make. And this particularly came into fruition when I was in high school, and I used to see a lot of young girls feeling really insecure about themselves. And because I had come from a place of that once before, and what got me over it was basically doing a makeover on myself. Nothing too drastic, because I was still in school. It was just changing my hairstyle and my clothing. That's basically what it was. But it gave me a really strong sense of a more positive self-image, and it allowed me to become a more confident person. And when I started dressing into my look that I felt, if that makes sense. So when I started dressing like a more confident person, I started to become it. And so then when I started going out and interacting with people, I no longer acted like the shy girl, I acted like a confident girl that owned it. And so when I used to see people kind of sitting in the library by themselves, no friends and things like that, I would just basically start talking to them. And a lot of the time it just came down to confidence. They didn't have the confidence to go and approach people. They didn't think that they were worthy of making friends. They might have been bullied at school. So whatever it might have been, I really was fascinated by psychology. Yeah. And on a flip side, I used to use image as a form of manipulation.
Why not? Tell me a bit more. Let's lift the veil on the dark side of Jessica.
So I wanted to be cool. I wanted to be popular. I wanted to be known. So I used to kind of like.
And I just said it without shame. I love that about you.
Well, it's true, and everyone goes through that in their childhood. And so I used to, I guess, I did kind of fake it until I made it, but it was more of a fake it until I became it. So I used to create fake newsletters and get my parents to buy me clothes that were the trend, saying I needed it for a school trip, which wasn't true. I just wanted to be popular, and I wanted everyone to love me. And unfortunately, that was just, I grew up when Clueless was around as a hit movie. So I sort of was brought up in that sort of era.
Right.
Sounds so old.
and then when you started, were you already thinking about how to dress for success, or were you mainly following trends? Were you kind of person that was the trend setter or the trend follower?
I became the trend setter. And I became quite popular. And so that's when I first initially thought, wow, your image is actually really powerful.
Yes.
And I was able to change my life from starting a new school where no one knew me and having no friends to being the most popular girl in school, and everyone wanted to know what I was wearing. And I started breaking rules. I would go to the principal's office all the time for getting in trouble because I changed the way my uniform looked. And I had really humble beginnings. So that's when I started making my own clothes as well, because I always felt like I had to be one step ahead, because I had a huge following of girls I went to an all-girls school. So I had a huge following of girls wanting to follow what I did. So I used to go to stores, which is Glassons in New Zealand, go to the changing room, have a look at the clothes in the changing room, find out how to make it, go home, buy fabric, sew it up, make it myself, and just make it unique. And then I used to change my uniform and everything. So, yeah.
So you've been really living and breathing this since a young age, very young age. So,
yeah, 13 years old. But that's because I discovered where my confidence came from. My confidence was already within me. I just needed to visually see it to believe it.
It feels like the confidence is already there, and the way the clothing represented more like a key.
Yeah, it was like my suit of armor.
Yeah, your Wonder Woman uniform, but without tights and having underpants on top of the tights, which sounds weird.
That's exactly right.
That's perfect. So now you've been doing work with huge brands as well, and you have also a TV show right now. So tell us a bit more about the TV show, and then we're going to delve deep into how can we help those speakers, like myself included. Thank you. So you sent me a message the other day. Can I give you some feedback? I said, of course. So how can we get this out to everyone? But tell us a bit more about the TV show, what you're covering there as well.
Okay, so the TV show is on Sky Network 203. It's called A Different Kind of Woman, and it's a show that's about empowering women to be unique. Mm-hmm. And we have a 2-minute style segment at the end of every show, which is basically a how-to, and it complements the topics we're talking about. So whatever a woman is thinking, we're discussing it. Last week, we spoke about politically correct, and I spoke about the power of colour and how to use it to form a message. And another show that we did recently was delivery partners. So this might not be interesting to the people listening, but it's all about delivery partners and babies and things like that. And my segment was basically how to dress when you're pregnant and ways of using your image affordably but still looking.
I don't think I will ever have that problem, fortunately. I probably is not one of my main searches on Google how to dress when pregnant, unless commissioned by my lovely one. But
Yeah.
okay, please keep going.
Well, she can watch the episode, and she'll get some hints on.
I'll make sure when the right time comes, I'll direct her to that episode. Thank you, Jessica.
Yeah, so it's basically whatever issues women are thinking about, we discuss it. And it's a show that is very close to my heart. So it's empowering women. And I really love any topics that involve female empowerment, because I just feel there's so much pressure out there. And so many women are trying to do everything. You know, they're trying to be entrepreneurs, they're trying to be mothers, they're trying to be good wives. And so there's a lot of...
they're trying to be men sometimes.
Yeah. They try to be men and earn more than men.
And more than men.
Yeah, so I think it's just, you know, females are really special. So I really love the fact that there's a show out there that's really positive. And yeah, just can't wait to really grow the show more and do some really fun stuff with it.
That's brilliant, and thank you for doing that, because it's definitely needed. I mean, I meet a lot of women every day through my seminars and courses, and we find that the biggest problem that I've seen people come to our events that we do is I don't have enough confidence, or I don't have that clarity, or I would love to, but... And I'm happy that there is someone like you out there who is on mainstream television, not only on in a personal development seminar, doing that. So now, let's delve a bit deeper into. I am a speaker. Yes. I am a coach. I am starting out. I don't have a clue about how to dress strategically. That's a word that you used, which I loved. How to dress strategically for success. Where do I start?
Well, first of all, you need to know what your image is. Okay, so what your image is, it's a mixture of three things. So it's your appearance, your actions, and your attitude. So one thing I like to call it is it's an acronym. Is that how you pronounce it properly? Acronym.
Acronym.
New Zealand, we have a limited
You're asking an Italian.
vocabulary. So an acronym that I like to use is called SHAPE. So SHAPE is S stands for seen, H stands for hidden, because your hidden image, your inner image, is your foundational image, it's the substance. A stands for assumed, P is proven. So proven is a measure of your success and your failures over a period of time, and it's also stuff that's seen in the media.
Right.
Wait, what letter am I up to? P. And then E is your experienced image. So your experienced image is how you make other people feel, basically, when you leave the room. So when you're talking to sort of coaches, speakers, because they're in the public eye and they are wanting to create an image of influence, it's not just focusing on how they are dressing, it's focusing on all five of those areas. Wait, is that 5 letters? SHAPE. Yes.
Yeah, five. We are on there. And we are really good in math as well.
And I had to use my fingers to count. It's so embarrassing.
I think it's clear we don't have a degree in accounting. I think
yeah, so a business owner, a speaker, coach, you want to be looking at all of those areas, because all of those areas create your personal brand. And image, actually, how you dress is only one, how you visually appear is only one part of that portion. Mm-hmm. So for you, because you're a speaker, you have podcasts, you're on Facebook, you're speaking in front of people, it's actually important for you to work on all five of those areas, because all five of those areas form a perception of who you are and what you're about and what you deliver.
Yes.
So the way I like to see it is that your image is like your personal advertisement to the world, and in professional terms, it's a promise of who you are and what you deliver. So how you dress strategically in terms of using your visual appearance is you want your clothing, your body language, and your vocals to be coherent.
Yes.
Okay. So say, for instance, you're speaking on stage to an audience of 2,000, which you do.
Which you do. Yep. Okay. And keep going. I'm with you.
For instance, that they are cold leads. So the people who may have heard of you but don't necessarily know who you are. then what you want to be doing is you want to be projecting that image of credibility, authority, trustworthiness. So the type of colors that you would want to be using for that create those feelings of trustworthiness, credibility, authority. So they would be like your blues. And if you're on stage, you might want to have like a pop of color. So like a pop of, depending on your skin tone, a pop of like orange or a pop of yellow, just so you've always got people's attention. You've always got people looking at you when you're walking on the stage and they're not looking at your phone. So that would be another way. An incorrect way of dressing in that same scenario would be wearing high authority colors, which is black, white, and red together.
Why?
Why is that? Because when you're talking in front of a cold market audience, you want to be building authority and credibility. Whereas I find when you wear colors that are too high in authority, when you try to sell something, it just creates warning in someone's head because you haven't built that rapport with them first.
Right.
Do you know what I mean? So it's a psychological way of building rapport with your audience. And then once you get to know them, once they get to know you over a period of time, then yes, you can go for your more high authoritative colors. But then again, it's a different scenario for a different objective. Yes. So say, for instance, if you're in the third selling stage, do you know what I mean by third selling stage?
Tell me more. Give a bit more background on that.
Okay. So your first selling stage when you're meeting someone is the initial meeting. Yes. So it's getting to know them, finding out who they are, what their problems are, how you can solve them. Yes. The second selling stage is when you still want to build that rapport with them, but at the same time, you're going to start talking about money.
Yeah.
And then the third selling stage is when you want to close the deal.
All right.
So the third selling stage, or when you want to close a deal and you've already built that rapport with them, you've already gained their trust, they already like and know you, then you can go for your high authority colors and close that deal.
Right. So it's like, okay, now I'm friendly, I'm your friend, I'm your best mate, we hang out together. Hey, you see, I've got something sparkly that you can keep your eyes on me. And now, okay, now it's time to talk about money. I'm still your friends and we're still fluffing about a bit. Now it's time to close the deal. Here we go.
Exactly. And so I use so in terms of the colors and how I dress, I use 3 different stages with 3 different selling stages. So for the first one, I would wear low contrast clothing. So that's clothing that's in similar contrast to each other. Maybe I'll flick you a couple of images later, but they'll be like, say, for instance, a navy suit and a blue shirt. Right. Because what that does, it doesn't make the person you're speaking to feel inferior. If anything, it makes you come across as more approachable. Right. And because of your verbal, in your first selling stage, what your aim is to find out as much about that person as possible, so you can find out what their problems are. Yes. And figure out how to solve them. They don't need to know that you're figuring out how you want to solve them, right? Sure. But you want to come across as approachable and friendly. And so that's the whole idea, is to make that other person feel like it's all about them. Because when they finish talking to you and they walk away, maybe you're at a networking event at this stage and they're going and talking to someone else who's too busy talking about them and they look like, I'm the boss. Yeah. You're going to be more memorable to them. When they go home, they're going to be thinking about you, thinking about Simone, the guy that made me feel amazing, and he just asked me all these questions. They don't understand that you've used your visual cues to do that. So, yeah, so that would be first initial stage. And then second initial stage would be similar. So you won't be wearing low contrast because at this point you want to stand out and you want to create a little more authority, because you want to position, you're setting the selling stage up for your sale, for the close of deal.
Yes.
So you still want to wear authoritative colors, but they would be darker colors. So if you think about it, when you've got a band of colors, how it goes from light to dark.
Yeah.
Say, for instance, we've got a shade of blue. It goes from light blue to dark blue. In the middle there, where it's not quite dark, but it is a little bit, that's your second selling stage. So you're still, the darker the color, the more authority, but not necessarily meaning it's black.
Right. So it can be, for example, I'm thinking about my suits now that I have in my wardrobe there. So it can be like a kind of a dark navy.
Yeah.
And then what do I do? Do I have, for example, so you said you want to create contrast. So I have the dark navy with, for example, a white shirt.
White shirt and like a...
I'm getting this stuff, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. And then like a pop of color tie. So a color that creates excitement but works with your skin, hair, and eyes.
Wow.
Okay. So, and then that's because you're still trying to build authority and you're still coming across, but you're still in the stage of building credibility, trust, and authority with that person, but you're going to start talking money.
Right.
When you get to the third selling stage, when you want to close a deal, you've already built rapport with that person. They've already got to know you. They already like you. They already trust you. But you want to make sure what you ask for is what you get. So that's when you are high authority, but that doesn't necessarily mean you need to go at them like a pit bull. Yeah. It's just your speech. So high authority colors would be darker colors and wow contrast. So anything that creates a wow factor. So it's like red, black, and white. Or
so it can be, for example, like I'm thinking a black suit, a white shirt, and a red tie.
Yeah. Or even if you wanted to use a charcoal suit, you can use a charcoal suit. You can use a pop of color in your shirt. You don't even need to wear a tie, but say for instance, as long as it's a high contrast.
Yes.
So when you're looking at it and you're thinking wow, and then your second stage you're looking at it, it's like wow but okay, and then your first stage is like you're kind of almost making yourself not necessarily not stand out, but you're making it more about the person.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I am actually incredibly fascinated about this because, you know, I interview a lot of people and I've interviewed and do more than 200 events a year. So you can imagine how many people I meet and interview. But it's great to learn something which is complete that I never heard of.
Yeah.
I feel it's a very selfish moment for me because this interview is more for myself than for you guys that are listening. But I hope that it's serving you. It's serving me definitely. So thank you, Jessica. I owe you one. Now, now, so we have talked about colors. I want to take just a bit of a mental break before I go to the next question. And what I would love to ask you is, because you will find this interview is going to be jumping from one thing to the other, and you're going to be asking yourself, what is he doing? And I'm going to reply, I don't know, it just feels good. And so this is what a question I want to ask you.
Okay.
So I think that everyone has role models in their lives.
Yes.
Who's been the biggest person, the biggest role model that influenced you? If you have to think about all the people that you've learned from, that influenced your life, can be past or present.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think you know your future.
Yeah.
If you know, I don't know, like you're blowing my mind. So you might even know your future. I don't know.
Does Jesus count?
Jesus count. Jesus count. Yeah.
On a serious note, it's actually my grandfather. And my grandfather also was someone I would look at because he used his image strategically but uniquely. And so he was known as wearing a short denim shorts, rugby socks up to his knees, workman boots that go up to his legs, and a midriff V-neck short red t-shirt. And you might think, what the hell? But that was so in line with his personality. He was a bodybuilder competing naturally right up until he was 50. So he obviously wanted to show off his muscles. Yeah. And secondly, he had a construction company. So we would go food shopping, and because he looked like a hard-working man, people would come up to him, oh, so what is it that you do? Well, they will go, actually, I'll give you a scenario of what happened. We went food shopping and a lady came up to him and said to him, oh, you're not in construction by any chance, are you? And he's like, oh, yes, I am. I have this business. Oh, great. I have a fence that needs to be put up. Do you mind? Can I grab your details? He was literally his walking advertisement. And even though his image wasn't polished, it was so memorable. He was like a cartoon character. You open up his wardrobe and it was just a whole bunch of short denim shorts and a whole bunch of short red midriff shirt that he actually got me to make for him. And when people had met him 10 years prior and then they see him again in the few, like 20 years later or whatever, when we'll go on holidays around the Pacific Islands, people would remember him. What type of business card is that?
Wow.
You know what I mean? So that was kind of like my exposure. I was like, wow, like he's not like polished or whatever, but he he represents who he is and what he does.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just right there in front of you.
Wow. So is that something that you have in your blood, basically? Is in your genes?
So. I think so.
Any other family members that has either quirky way of dressing or styles, or they use strategically dressing for success?
At this point, it's just my grandfather.
Yeah.
And yeah, I did have an uncle that used to like and dress like Elvis Presley, and his nighttime job was an Elvis impersonator, but I don't think that was really original. It got him gigs. Oh, you're an Elvis impersonator, by the way, because you look so much like him. Yes, I am.
Could he do also the movement with the legs?
Oh, yeah. He even had the guitar and all, the sideburns and everything. Like,
amazing.
Replica moment. So
we're getting to, by the end of this interview, we know your your family tree and everyone, your family and all the quirkiness that happens in there. Now, we have been talking about the different colors and for the different 3 stages of selling. And I think that this is more if you sell one-to-one, or, for example, if you're selling to maybe doing a presentation, but in different stages.
Yeah.
But what if I'm a speaker and I'm selling from the stage and I sell all on the same day? So I don't have that luxury to change my suits maybe if over a day, maybe I could change my suits 3 times accordingly, which is something I will test and I will let you know how it works. Yeah. But if I'm on an evening, when I have maybe a couple of hours, what do you suggest then?
So the second stage outfit.
Right.
So that would be coming across as authority, credibility, trustworthy, but having that little excitement button going on because you're going to be selling to people. I have worked with quite a few speakers actually who have done workshops over 3 days, and then I've advised them on different things. But in your scenario, I would go for second stage. First stage is not going to be good for you because it's too low contrast, so you're not going to stand out. And also, the lighter the suit, the less authority you have. And when you're speaking on stage, you want to be an expert. You're an authority figure. You want to be an influencer, and you want people to perceive that. So you would go for your second selling stage outfit.
On the second selling stage outfit.
Yeah. What I'll do for you is I'll send you some looks just for you.
That's what happened when you do interviews, right? Thank you very much. You don't just connect with amazing people, they also work for you. Amazing. Wow. Okay. Now, what is it that you see, which is a huge mistake that people make while choosing? Because I think that everyone now is thinking, not everyone, maybe many people are thinking, well, okay, so I have my 3 different things that I can wear, and I know even if I'm doing one single presentation, but if I had to start, what are the things that people need to be aware of? Okay,
going right down to basics.
Yeah.
So ensuring that your suit fits you. It's not too big, it's not too small. So basically it suits your shape, because what that says to people is that you pay attention to detail subconsciously. That's sort of like the feelings that people get. And also you don't want to create any distractions. Unless you're an MC, then yes, you want to create a distraction. But if you're speaking on stage, you don't want to be creating distractions. If it's female speakers, say for instance, they probably don't want to wear any jewelry that makes a lot of noise on the mic or little things like that. So my first advice would be dressing, like just making sure your clothing fits you and you're not wearing long pants that are scruffling across the stage, because believe it or not, people are always going to think of something to look at, and you don't want them looking at your feet, you want them looking at your face, because your face is your communication hub.
Sure.
The other thing I see a lot of people making mistakes of, sometimes they have a little bit of a body issue where they tend to sweat and they have white shirts. It's like, why would you wear a white shirt when you sweat? Every time you put up your arms, all you can see is like sweat dripping down the side, and I'm too busy focusing on these sweat patches. I'm not even listening to what you're saying. So that would
we call them the sexy sweat patches. They're not
Yeah, and also as well, one thing that I think is really important would just be general grooming. Again, it's just removing distractions and not having people being focused on things that aren't important. You want people focusing on your message, on what you're trying to teach them. So just removing any distractions. That would be the first.
The first step, and I think is very important. And the reason why I was laughing before, for all the listeners that weren't in, probably everyone that wasn't in our private conversation on Facebook, when you said, what do you see in this picture? These are the kind of messages that you can expect from Jessica. What do you see in this picture? Where it takes a screenshot of you on stage, and said, well, don't know. So look, what do you see? Where is your focus right now? And then really she got me to realize that actually the suit that I was wearing, in particular when I was moving, wasn't fit in a perfect way. And these are small things that can make a massive difference. Like for me, what I'm really passionate about, teaching people how to sell from stage, there is one word that can make a difference between one person saying yes and one person saying no.
Absolutely. So it's removing those distractions, because humans were easily distracted. Remember, you've got a very small window of retaining someone's attention. Even when I speak to people, if I've got a flick of hair that's sticking up and I notice they're too busy looking at my hair and not at my face, it annoys me, because I'm like, damn it, they're distracted. I need some hairspray.
Excuse me, I need to go to the loo.
But do you understand? Like, it's a very minor detail, but it's a detail that has the potential to play a huge difference.
It is. And now that we are talking, I actually remember the first time, and this is where I started really thinking, because before, now you see me right now, before I was a proper hippie. Right, complete hippie, like this huge trousers with the flowers and the scarf and the hat. And I was wondering, why does my business not grow? And I remember a friend of mine who was an image consultant. He told me, probably because the way you're dressed. And for me, it was so difficult actually making that change, because I was so attached to the images I created about myself that just transitioning and putting a suit on was it was one of my biggest internal fights that I had. And people can laugh right now, I don't care. But for me, just taking rid of the hat, of the scarf, of these large trousers, to go on a suit and growing the goatee, I was completely bald as well. So just to grow my hair again, that was a big thing. So for what do you recommend? Because you're working a lot with people, helping them with this image transformation. Like when they are resisting and they say, no, this is who I am, which is not, but they say, this is who I am.
Yeah, I really love this question. And I recently worked with a lawyer, and I'll give you his story. So he wanted to be partner for a firm, but his firm didn't want to make him partner because he actually had a little bit of a hippie in him as well, and just dressed like a hippie, basically, hippie in a suit. So what I did with him is we actually got a lot of his clothing custom made, and he obviously had the budget to do it. So on the outside, he looked polished and professional, but he was able to reverse his jacket when he leaves the office, and it had his hippie design, and it looked really cool. And he was able to be himself outside of work. And not only that, we got like special boxes made for him. So even in his mind, if he looked all prim and proper, on the inside he's like, hey, I've got my hippie boxes on, so I'm fine.
So you don't see that, suckers.
So there's nothing wrong with expressing your personality. It's just knowing when. Actually, I'm just going to rephrase that. There's nothing wrong with expressing your personality, but figuring out a way that works for you. So if you want to still have your little hippie moments, then do something that makes you feel it. No one else might see it. Maybe like get a reversible jacket or wear something under your clothing that will make you feel less prim and proper. But that, again, is just using your image strategically, because the message that a hippie image portrays to people is I mean, tell me, what are some words that express a hippie? When people think of a hippie, what are words that come to mind?
Get a job.
What else?
Get a job, get some proper clothes, wash yourself. Oh, are you serious? Are you kidding?
Yeah.
Or sometimes if you are already in the hippie community, they can be, oh, you are so loving and caring. That's, I'm just reversing that. But
Yeah.
if someone from the external world that is not belonging in the huge loving hippie family, these are the kind of words that they say.
Yeah.
And these are the kind of words that my mom said to me. So I can...
Yeah. So, I mean, our image and the colors we use and how we choose to dress, we subconsciously form feelings about what we see. And when you're thinking about just how society perceives a hippie, on a professional sense, it's someone who's not serious, someone who's laid back. So if you're a business person trying to help people with their businesses, but you've got an image that's laid back, doesn't appear serious, no attention to detail, do you think people are going to want to invest in those qualities that have been perceived?
Nope.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's unfortunate. We live in a very visual world, and that will never change. I mean, we have eyes and ears for a reason. But there's no reason to not be able to express your personality. So maybe it's just coming up with some colors in your wardrobe that will help you to feel like yourself more and not so prim and proper dressing like a banker.
Yeah, I mean that was it was really interesting because that was me before, but after I resisted the transition, then when I cannot, it's quite strange now. It's difficult for me to go back because I find myself is almost having a new skin. Like when you adapt, it's almost having a new skin. And
I'm growing in life as well, aren't you? You're moving forward, you're achieving new things, you're starting a business, you're growing, your transition is in line with your personal and your business growth.
Mm-hmm.
If that makes sense.
It's definitely true, and I'm very comfortable with that because at the end of the day, we constantly change. So, am I saying I will never go back to where those things? I don't know. I'm just going where my personality goes. But at the moment, for the goals that I wanted to achieve, for the success that I wanted to achieve, and the perception that I wanted people to have about me and my brand, I had to make those choices, and then. After a while, it just became a part of me. So I think that as a message, those people like myself were resisting it.
Do you know what you will love, though?
Yeah.
Think about Steve Jobs, how he's known as the turtleneck and the jeans guy, right?
Yep.
He didn't turn into the turtleneck and jeans guy until he had established his proven image. So when I was talking to you about those 5 areas, when you get to a point where you've established your credibility, your reputation on a global scale, which is a journey, it takes a lifetime, it's not going to happen overnight, then you can kind of relax a little bit on the whole image side. But when you're building up to success, when you're rolling in that momentum of growth, then you want to be strategic. But once that growth has happened and you're there and you're just at that point where you're maintaining things, or you're already seen as a public figure, people already know you, they already love you, then you could go to wear your hippie clothes and no one's going to care.
It's true. It's so true. I remember my business trainer, and I think we were delivering a seminar on public speaking or something. And they said billionaires or millionaires that have a funky or quirky way of styles or dresses or clothes, they are eccentric. If you are broke and you are having like this, then you're weird. And I think that really stuck with me, and that was the moment when I realized that I had to change, because I didn't want people to perceive me that I was a weirdo.
Yeah.
Then they realize that after, when they get to know me, so they have still that confirmation. But at the beginning, it's like, give me the benefit of the doubt, please.
Yeah. So once you're sort of really got to that sweet spot, and you'll know when you get there. Everyone gets there at some point in their time. For some people it takes 10 years, others it takes a lifetime. Some people never even get there. But why do you want to deprive yourself from future success just from being rebellious and having that mentality of people can like me whether they like it or not?
Yes.
Because at the end of the day, it's always reflective of who you are, and we live in a society where people by other people. So yeah, that's
True.
kind of
And I agree with you, because I think that what you say, exactly what you said right now, when you're saying, "Oh, I don't care if people will like me exactly the way I am." Well, guess what? There is a room for it. If you are in a particular business, then you want to make sure that obviously not everyone can like you, but you want to make sure that they are not put off from the beginning, even from having a first interaction with you.
exactly. Especially if you want to be an influencer. The whole point about being an influencer is being a leader and having people follow you and hang on to your every word, what you're teaching. People aren't going to follow someone who has that mentality of, I don't care what you think, I think about myself, because you just come across as a selfish person. No one follows selfish people. So, yes.
So now we have another one of these moments of this random question that I ask to the people that are here, to my guests, and the question is, what has been, and you can be free to share the most one, the biggest one, or not. Like I give you the benefit of the doubt. But what has been the most embarrassing moment that you had in your life, where related to being dressed up properly or not, like, or something that screwed up with an outfit? And
it's so many. I would have to say, I'm just going to go for this year because there's been so many. I was rushing. I had to rush I went home to just do a quick prep on my slides for a presentation I was pitching to a company. And I quickly ran to go and out the door to go and meet them. And I was wondering why I was walking so slow. I didn't realize it until I got there, and I was waiting in the waiting room, waiting to get called in to do my pitch. And I looked down and I had my slippers on. And I was like, what the hell? No wonder why I was walking so slow.
Oh my God. So it's one of these moments where you are so in your mind to say, oh, this is what I'm going to say, this is what I'm going to do. So how did that go then? Did you get it?
Well, I ended up using my slippers as an icebreaker. So I started off the meeting, and I can't remember what I said exactly, but something along the lines is, how many of you walked into a meeting when you were not wearing quite the right thing and you didn't feel good, but you still performed well? And I was just like, well, because I'm going to perform well, but look at my slippers, is basically what I was saying. I can't remember how I structured the sentence, because I was really embarrassed. Yeah. I ended up pulling myself together mentally, thank God. But the whole time I was just focused on my slippers. I really was. And I didn't give the best presentation I could because I was focused on my slippers. So on a flip note, if you're walking into a meeting or a situation or whatever it might be, if you have something that's distracting you, another example would be a customer that I've been speaking to recently. Because of a certain incident that she's had by breaking a toe, she's always wearing sneakers. And in her mind, when she's presenting, she's always thinking about those sneakers.
Right.
Even though other people are probably not really noticing her sneakers, because she does make it look as professional as possible. But even with you, when you have those distractions, it ruins your performance as well, because you're not focusing on your objectives. You're distracted by, for my case, my slippers.
Interesting. What color were the slippers? Were they pink?
They were tan Ugg boots.
Oh, so cute. But I share with you mine now that we are in this sharing moment. Very intimate moment of sharing our screwing ups. I was delivering a presentation. It was I think there were a workshop with about 70, 100 people. I don't remember well, but it was a good size room. And part of my presentation, and part of the presentation was me performing an act and also moving quite around. And also I had to bend, and you can see where the story is going. Okay. So as soon as I bend over, then from the back. So I had to finish off my presentation with a big crack
Oh no!
on the back of my trousers. With everyone was that, and the crack was loud. And
Oh no!
because you know when you are in this moment of storytelling where you have the audience in the palm of your hand, like you're telling a story. I was performing this story. There was silent, like you couldn't hear a pin drop in the room.
Yeah.
Damn, the crack in the trousers. And I actually I think I was so nervous that I said something about that. I say, oh, sorry. And then, and I was very inexperienced at the time as well. So I didn't use that at my advantage, or I didn't put that in the presentation like you did. That's what I would do now. But before I was like, oh, sorry. And kept going, and I could see the goals. And from there, my performance was very, very poor. So now, because we shared this, what do you recommend? So you said that manage your distractions, so don't focus on this distraction or the things that you're not maybe feeling comfortable wearing, or maybe you're self-conscious. If you are in that situation and then you have an opportunity and then you suddenly start becoming self-conscious, what can I do there?
I'll just go back to your story. So say, for instance, with your little split in your underwear, word of advice, if you wear underwear that's the same color as your pants, no one's going to know if that happens. So you can just pretend like it never happened.
Jessica, this is the most life-changing interview I've ever had. I'll tell you, this is the most life-changing interview I've ever had. Keep going, please.
So, I mean, every single time I work through people's wardrobes, one of the basics is getting your foundations right, okay? Mm-hmm. Even though you don't think people are going to see it, you never know what's going to happen. And this experience came a lot from working in TV. So match your underwear, match your socks to your pants.
Right.
And then when something like that happens, just ignore it and move on, because it's less likely anyone's going to see it. I lost my train of thought. What was your question?
The question is that if you are
distracted by thinking about
you were thinking about the underwear. You were thinking about the underwear.
Yeah, and I'll give you another advice too, like for speakers and things like that, because especially if you're filming your talk and you might be standing there, you might be sitting, you do want to do a sit test when you buy clothing, because you do want to see that it's not going to get tight around your man area, or do you know what I mean? Just really basic stuff when you're buying clothing. Something that people don't think about, but yeah, you'll think about that from now on. Just do the sit test. Make sure you can bend over without it cracking.
I do that. Every suit I get right now.
And match your underwear to your pants.
Yes, I'm going to get some navy underwear. Then this is my homework. So let's say I'm okay now. Something happens, but it's not that tragic, like walking with slippers into a meeting or having a crack on the pants. But I'm still self-conscious of myself. What can I do to get my mind off it so then I can perform well?
Okay, so you got two options. One, accept it, forget about it, move on. Or two, turn it into a joke, make people laugh. They will feel comfortable. You will feel comfortable because they're laughing. They'll feel comfortable even though they're laughing at you.
Right. I think there is. I think it's brilliant. In particular, I love the second one, and turning into a joke and make people laugh, like you did when you went into the meeting as well.
Yeah.
Because it might be that not in every person in the audience, but there are some people in the audience that are going to notice that.
Yeah.
And
so you could turn it into a joke. And like, say for instance, for me, because I noticed my slippers were on and I made the joke, I was like, guys, do you mind if I present in my bare feet and take my slippers off? And they're like, no, go ahead, sure, why not? And then I was able to like own my I mean, I still didn't perform as well as I would have because I had that distraction, but I think to remove those distractions, just, be real, just let it out. Don't be ashamed of it. Make people laugh. When people laugh, you're going to feel good about yourself. Then you'll pick yourself up and get focused and move on past the subject.
Yeah, okay, so I see what's going to, if next time something like that happen, I'll ask the audience, guys, can I take my trousers off? So,
No.
so
And also as well, another thing you might want to remember, maybe only if it's going to be noticeable. Sometimes there are things that happen on stage that aren't noticeable. There's no point bringing attention to it and calling out the elephant in the room, if you know what I mean.
yes.
But if it's something that's noticeable, then absolutely. So, but instead of saying, can I take my trousers off, maybe just say, I'm just going to be standing like this if you don't mind. And I'm walking sideways so that I'm always front facing and I'm not sideways or behind facing.
Okay, we are going to put this in the how to for speakers when tragic situation happens.
Yeah.
Okay, well, Jessica, it's been an incredible pleasure. We are about, so far it's been amazing. I had a blast so far. I had fun, and I think I've learned something that is not shared enough. Because a lot of people, they teach you how to speak, they teach you how to move your body, they teach you how to use your voice, they teach you how to use the speed of your voice, how to use poses, but they never teach you how to dress for success. So thank you. Now, I guess the last question that we have here is, for those of us that want to keep connecting with you and want to learn more from you, where can we find you? How can we hear more about you?
How you can hear more about me? Well, I'm slowly getting Googleable now here in London. But you can Google Jessica Ann Styling. Also, you can check me out on Facebook. So Jessica Ann Styling on Facebook as well. Or Twitter, JA Stylist.
Brilliant. And we will put all the social media and those links in the show notes. So guys, don't worry, you are sorted. A click of a button, make sure you connect with Jessica, because I'm telling you, she's the real deal. You've seen tonight, she knows what she's talking about, and she's not one of these people who held back. You know, sometimes you interview people and they start fluffing about, no, you go straight to the point and you say what needs to be said. So I really, 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 really appreciate that.
Yeah, I think that's another form of communication as well, is just being concise, directed to the point. There's no point fluffing about, because you just confuse people. It's another distraction, isn't it?
No distraction. We like it. Honest, genuine, straight to the point. So before we cry and we say goodbye until next time, this is how we end every single show, is with a message from the speaker to the audience. So if there is one message that you would like all the listeners or all the people that are watching this interview to take away with them, that could change their life forever, what would this message be?
Ooh. Be authentic. Know who you are. Know where you want to get to. And position yourself strategically to get what you want and get what you need out of life to make you happy, and just be your authentic self. Don't be a head-to-toe walking mannequin dressed in brands. I really cannot stand people who do that. They're like Gucci, Versace, head to toe. Just be authentic, be you, be real, and but you need to have clarity. So you need to know who you are, where you want to get to, and how you're going to get there, and using your image and creating a personal brand that positions you for that outcome is what you should be focusing on. So focus on 5 areas of image, not just 1 or 2, like you say with speakers, body language, vocal. That's only 2 areas of that. So yeah, was that clear enough?
That was great. So Jessica, again, thank you very much. And for those of you that have been listening or watching this video, I'm looking forward to seeing you in the next episode. And also make sure you connect with Jessica. Bye.